welcome to Turn of the Century Gaming. I'm Mike, here today with my brother Tyler. Today we're playing Star Fox 64. When's the last time you played through this game?
Oh god. It's when we were much younger.
Okay. Well, good enough, I guess. Game came out in 97, so in keeping with the name of the channel, it came out right around the turn of the century. And that is the focal point of this channel. We're going to highlight games that came out preferably in the mid-90s to the mid-2000s. Did you ever have a favorite level?
Besides Corneria, no.
Corneria was one of your favorite levels?
Yes.
Fair, I guess.
What was your favorite?
Corneria.
My favorite was probably Zonus or Area 6. I really like the challenge of those levels.
I'm one of those people that don't like the challenge because it's just too much of an annoyance to bother getting any of the medals and such.
Well, that's what we're trying for here. We are going to try for full medal runs. Hopefully we get medals on every level. The biggest reason you want to get medals is that if you get a medal on every level, then you unlock expert mode.
Oh, really?
You didn't know that?
No.
Okay, so yeah, you guys unlock expert mode if you get a medal on every level. The clear conditions for getting a medal are you have to shoot down so many enemies in a level, and you have to have all of your teammates alive at the end of the level. So, very important to help them if they need help.
But aren't there some routes where your teammates go down regardless?
There is, particular in Sector X. Sector X,
okay.
The boss, if you go to the boss of Sector X, halfway through the boss fight, there's a chance that if you're not quick enough, Slippy will get shot down. So,
and I see you already played a bit of it.
Yeah, I did play a little bit a couple days ago just to make sure I could still play.
Oh, I see how it is.
Yeah, okay, I might have cheated a little bit. But, so, oops. Okay, so first level is Corneria. It's where you start every Star Fox game, seemingly. But the kill count here is 150 enemies in case you forgot.
Yes.
And there's 2 spots where you need to help your teammates. Right at the beginning of the level, you have to help Slippy, and then halfway through, you have to help Falco.
Falco, because he's got problems with the G diffuser or whatever that.
Yeah, his shield system gets screwed up and he's being chased. But he's also essential to make it to Sector Y. If you don't help him, you can't make it to Sector Y.
Right.
It's about time you showed up, Fox.
But there's also another stipulation to getting into Sector Y, isn't it?
Yeah, you gotta fly through all the stone arches on the water section of the level. So you have to save Falco, and you have to fly through all the stone arches. And I just realized that I have my frames per second counter up there in the corner.
Oh.
So, that's awesome.
It'll be chopped out, don't worry.
I'm trying to think if there's anything important in that upper corner, but I think it's like the boost bar and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't really want to move the webcam up over that, so...
It's fine. We'll just put a black box over it.
I mean, I'm not going to put a black box over it. I'll just leave it there for this video, and I'll correct it for the next video. Sorry about that, guys.
Now, out of the entire Star Fox crew, which was your favorite?
Are we...
Not counting Fox.
Are we counting side characters? Or are we just counting, like, the main 4?
The core cast. So, like, Slippy, Peppy, and Falco.
Slippy, Peppy, Falco?
Yeah.
Probably Falco.
Is it because of his ignorance?
I just thought that he was the more interesting character. Peppy would probably be a close second.
Whoa! Thanks, Fox. I thought they had me.
So, how big of a difficulty gap is there between Sector Y and the asteroid belt?
Between Sector Y and the asteroid belt, there's not much of a difficulty spike, like as far as the actual level is concerned. But
So then if I told you just go to the asteroid belt, you'd be okay with that?
I mean, I could go to the asteroid belt, sure. I don't prefer going to the asteroid belt because getting to Katina from the asteroid belt is much harder.
But where's the challenge in that?
I agree. So did you know there's a bomb actually behind this robot here?
Yeah. Surprisingly, I remember that when we had the Nintendo Power magazines. Because that was one of the weird tips that they gave us.
Right.
I'll take this. Get the one behind me.
So yeah, this is that part where Falco gets in trouble.
Right.
But at the same time, if you don't take your time here, there's a lot of points that you miss too.
I guess I should be thankful.
So we got 100 points going into this section. That's pretty good. A lot of bombs.
Do a barrel roll.
Now, something that I don't think many people realize, this was the first game that utilized the, what was it? The
Rumble Pack.
Well, the Rumble Pack and the, oh, what the heck was it? Lost my train of thought.
Pretty smooth flying, Fox.
Oh, the Land Rover.
Yeah, the Landmaster tank.
Right.
This was the first game that had the Landmaster tank in it, which was actually loosely based on the Walker mode from Star Fox 2.
On the target. Try to keep
Which wasn't released until more recently on the SNES Mini or whatever.
Yeah, the SNES Classic had it.
back off, Fox.
So there's the 150 that I needed, which is awesome. It's a lower score than what I had before when I played through. Like I did 168 my last playthrough.
And bosses are worth, what, 10?
Bosses, if you drop them quick enough, are worth 1 point plus 10 bonus points. The longer you take to drop a boss, the less points you get for him.
Ah.
Deploy all units. Charge! I've got a present for you. That's it, Fox.
Also, apologies guys if the
The open spot.
controller clicks are rather loud and whatnot. We had to really experiment with our audio setup before we got recording because it's a new setup for me. And it's probably going to change quite a bit as we go.
We're Star Fox. You'll never defeat Astro.
So yeah, anytime that the that hit wording comes up,
Right.
that's the amount of bonus points that you get.
Alright.
And I don't know if you know this or not, but bonus points are calculated off of enemies killed by splash damage when it's not a boss.
Right, so like your smart bombs and stuff like that.
Smart bombs don't count, it only counts with charged laser shots.
Oh.
More like your father.
But the interesting thing about that is that there's actually a way if you hold both of the barrel roll buttons, like both of the tilt buttons,
Right.
you can actually disable your lock-on for the charge shot. So that then you can just fire it normally, and if you actually kill a single enemy with a charge shot, with an unlocked charge shot, you get 2 points.
That's interesting.
I thought it was really cool. So, we do have the option of going to the asteroid belt if you really want to. I personally don't want to because getting a medal on the asteroid belt is harder than getting a medal in Sector Y.
Now, the asteroid belt's, what, 200?
The asteroid belt is 200, Sector Y is 150. The reason why it's harder to get a medal in the asteroid belt is because you have to take the warp to Katina. Otherwise, there's simply not enough enemies in the level to kill.
Right.
You always end up short, regardless of how well you do if you don't hit the warp. So, I'll leave this up to you. What level do you want to see?
I really want the asteroid belt.
Alright, so
I'm hard set on it.
I guess we're going to the asteroid belt, but also, since I can do this, and since I have control here, because this is my channel, damn it,
Of course
I'm
it
going to
is.
be that guy, and I'm going to say, yeah, we're going to save state, And
Go
this
from
way
there.
here. Yeah, we're gonna go from here, and that way there, if I screw it up, we can just come back and reload and have our hyper lasers back. And we'll try again, and we'll just edit it in post.
Alright, so the hyper warp you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Now, that's one of the more difficult ones, right?
My opinion, it's probably the hardest warp to take in the game. There's one other warp, and that's in Sector X. That warp will take you to Sector Z.
Right.
But it's much easier to get to, if you ask me, especially if you go to Katina first. Because if you go to Katina first, then you have Bill's help
Things are starting to heat
to
up.
open the warp gate in Sector X. But in the asteroid belt here, to get to Katina, you have to fly through like 8
different
of those, hyper rings, or whatever you want to call them.
And each big asteroid's worth 2 by the looks
Yeah,
of it.
each of the undamaged asteroids, like if you pop an asteroid, it doesn't count. But they're each worth 1 point.
It's quiet. Too quiet.
Well, no kidding, Peppy, you're in space.
Be careful, it's a trap.
Space is not very conducive to...
Use bombs wisely.
That's always something else that's bothered me about the series. How is there sound in space?
Well, I mean, it's a common thing for, like, even, like, Star Wars and stuff. Like, if you were to actually have a Star Wars, like, space battle, there would be no sound.
Somersault.
Unless you're on one of the common planets.
Here comes the
Right,
big
because
one.
there's no... Wow, I really screwed that up. Because there's nothing in space to carry sound.
The sound. It's more like a vacuum where it sucks all the sound out.
Right, it is a vacuum. But now we're just kind of,
Whoa!
you know...
Can you make it?
Get into science and not the game.
Right. We're totally getting out of the context of the game here.
Use the boost to get through.
Now,
Location confirmed. Sending supplies.
those rings should be appearing here shortly, right? If I remember correctly.
They appear very close to the end of the level.
And
Ooh, 2 for 1.
silver rings replenish health.
Yeah, silver rings replenish
And
health.
If you collect 3 gold rings, it increases your health bar.
Right, and they also...
Thanks, Fox.
gold rings also increase your health. There's also the silver stars, which do considerably more health regeneration.
What are silver stars again?
They're not very common, but they appear like in some of the later boss fights, and especially on Solar. Solar, they appear pretty
The
regularly.
enemy's coming from behind.
I remember the solar boss being a huge pain.
The Solar boss, I never really thought he was that bad. Totally did not barrel roll there in time.
It happens.
I guess it's your turn to be thanked.
Now, there's also friendly fire in this game, so you
Yes.
can actually take out all of your enemies. Or your teammates, I guess. I
Yes,
should say.
you can absolutely kill your teammates yourself, which is a huge pain.
Considering Slippy and Peppy are usually the ones in the most trouble.
Yes,
You want a piece of... Take that!
shockingly, Falco doesn't get in trouble too often. And when he does, it's relatively minor.
Right.
Okay. Here's the warp. Hopefully. We'll see if we get it first try.
Hey,
If not, you guys are going to see a cut here.
You can also lock on the enemies this way. Never give up. Trust your instincts.
There you
Holy
go.
shit, I hit it.
See, that didn't seem too hard.
I don't know, maybe it was just younger me that really thought it was difficult, but yeah, that wasn't as bad as I remember it. I still think it's a colossal pain.
Now, I saw there was the go at the very start of this. Now, is that more like a fourth wall break from the developers, or...?
Oh, absolutely. Like, at least my opinion it would be. Like, this part here, with the enemies flying in like this is very reminiscent of Galaga, if you ask me. The old arcade game Galaga.
Oh, good lord. I didn't even think about that.
And like their bonus stages. Like, that's what this reminds me of.
I mean, yeah, that makes more sense.
Makes a ton of sense when you stop and think about it.
I try not to think. It gets me in trouble.
Well, that's fair, I guess. But...
See, you're fine. You got it.
Well, yeah, but I also... Remember, I told you that the key to getting this medal was making the warp. Because once you make the warp, all those funky asteroids are worth points. All the enemies are worth points. Hardly anything shoots at you.
Right.
It's easy to medal once you hit the warp. So, cool. We got the warp medal there, and we made it to Katina. Honestly, probably not my favorite way to get to Katina, but going this way to Katina sets your team up with more health than going through Sector Y, because Sector Y ends with that all-range mode fight against the cyborgs, which eventually, hopefully, we will get to that, to the Sector Y fight, because I do plan on doing multiple playthroughs to hit up every stage. I really want to show every stage in this series, or in this game, on this series on the channel. But so that's the first 2 levels.
Now, when I remember playing, I always ended up following the bottom path here into X.
Yeah, because like I said, hitting that warp, especially when I was younger, probably when you were younger, was a big challenge because it required,
right.
I mean, you saw how fast it got going towards the end there.
Yeah, but you're also the older one here, so
yeah, but that
it didn't seem that fast to me.
Yeah. Anyways, so I think we're gonna call it here. We'll cut the first video here, and then the next video we'll pick up either on Katina or Ficina. We'll get into that, though, on the next video, because there's actually a mistranslation in the English version here. But if you guys want to hear about that, check out the next video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you guys get the notification when we do drop that next video. Until then, guys, I'm Mike. He's Tyler. We are Turn of the Century Gaming. You have a good day.